Alright, this video is for the person that's watching this. And I know who you are. Don't get me wrong, I know of all the videos I have on my page. I also know that I've broken no laws or rules. However, it got your attention. Here's what I need, and I know this is going to sound really weird, but I'm already aware of every situation there is. Now, what you've been looking at are videos taken over the years of my daughter and I. The reason why I had to do that is because her mother, I found out after the fact, was part of a family that does everywhere from uh, they supply and they grow and they cater with drugs, and they also are part of animal abuse and animal neglect, and they basically breed animals. My daughter's mother's name is Michaelia Kristen Stapp. Okay. Now, I don't know if you're going to watch this whole video all the way through, but here's just it. First off, I know I've broken no laws or rules. Second, there's no other way for me to get out to anybody what is going on. There's a reason. I'm a Marine, okay? And one of the things I did was I learned how to always protect. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I did go to WIU. I actually got accepted into the police academy. I didn't want to do that though because I was way burnt out on being told what to do all the time. Back to what I'm trying to tell you, if you'll even listen to this. My daughter's mother, this goes back 3 generations to the great grandmother. Okay? And first off, I didn't really know what was going on, but I couldn't figure out why all of a sudden that they were interested in me. When Micah got pregnant, okay, I didn't really know too much about her and her family or anybody else. I was worried about my nightclub and everything going on. The difference between me and everybody else, I don't do drugs. I also don't drink. When I did find out, Gracie's mother had already been cheating on me with different guys or anything else. She was known for it in high school. I didn't know that because I didn't go to high school with her. But then I later found out that her mother was known for drugs and drug dealing. I could never figure out where all their money was coming from, but I also couldn't figure out why at no time they wanted me in certain parts of the house, okay? And then they moved across the street in all these little apartments. Nobody can ever figure out what I'm talking about because what they're doing is so unusual. Who would do something like that? Well, they've done it because they were growing drugs inside of their main house, and they started picking up their business a little bit. The thing about it is, though, they're very good friends with certain people, so they can always find out if they're going to get caught or not. Teresa Cantor, which is also Teresa Stapp, she's had 3 kids with 3 different guys. They're all druggies, every one of them, except one, and he was a Marine. But when I asked him, he said that he wasn't that good of a guy back in the day. So the only 2 people in that family that have never done drugs are Teresa, who supplied him, and her oldest daughter, Micah. I did not know any of this. But they always had money, and I could never figure out why. And then as the years were going on, I found out, that she lives at 325 South 7th Street over on Kentucky. And the thing about it is, now that Teresa's gone, Micah married a Latin king out of Chicago. Her brother got really messed up with drugs. Even though he always says he didn't and everything else, he really did. He got messed up with drugs. His baby's mom got messed up with drugs. He tried to kill her. He's been in nothing but drugs because it's always been around him. And that's how they make money. Now, as far as Teresa and Micah being users, Micah's admitted me that she's used before. But I didn't want to be with anybody like that. So what she had to do is she tried to take my daughter from me over and over and over again. Thing about it is, the guys that were coming to her house were either people they were supplying to or people that she was just sleeping around with. But I was never allowed to know that. I started with cameras and stuff on my Jeep because I had to prove that I wasn't doing anything. Well, no, I was just picking up my daughter. I believed in my daughter's safety first at all times. So she ran some kind of thing where you'd think it's politics, but she's not. Where she had to make everybody think I'm this worst dad in the world, that my daughter and I don't do anything together and everything else. Well, I always showed up, picked up, and dropped off my daughter on time. I always did what it took to make sure I was in my daughter's life. Not only because I love my daughter, but because I know how bad that family is. I know what they're capable of doing. And if you think that, oh, this is a big exaggeration, it's not. This family is capable They don't even have a bar. There's no bar for them to beat. They really don't care what they say, think, or do. But they do keep drugs, and they also have more videos than I could ever have because they're paying attention to everything going on. They've got cameras on their houses. Everything that they said they accuse me of or what they're doing. And it's funny because in the past, I've gone to police, I've gone to counselors, I've gone to different people to ask what I can do. And they said, unless you can catch her with a meth lab in your trunk, there's not too much anybody can do. Department of Family Child Services, Granada, Madonna House, Child Advocacy Network. They all say the same thing. Unless I have proof. Well, I started getting proof of the videos. I started getting proof with my daughter talking to me. A lot of the videos that are private are my daughter telling me about the different guys that her mother was sleeping with. We never imagined she would end up meeting a guy that committed murder and who was a Latin king in jail. That was her brother's cellmate, Benny Trevino. So I end up taking my daughter from her. The whole thing about it is, though, she knows that I put my daughter's health, safety, and well-being above everything else. I've never been some kind of weird pervert or anything like that. But I have taken videos and stuff to show everything we do. I've documented our life. I treated it as a photo journal, or as a video journal. My daughter would talk to me when she was in the bathtub and stuff. She would tell me about the guys. Whenever there was time for my daughter and I just to talk, that's what I needed to make sure that the court always had, because there's no way of proving anything else. I've had her friends come forward. I've had ex-boyfriends of hers come forward. They all tell me all kinds of stuff. And then when I go to somebody about it, nope, nothing we can do. As a father, I know that I cannot be, physically go manhandle anybody. I'd get in trouble. I'd be thrown in jail. Okay. The guy that came into my nightclub that I got in trouble with, he was just out for money. I closed down my nightclub because I didn't want to put my daughter through it. But for the most part, I knew what this family was doing all along. Most of the cops I told are now retired, or they didn't want to hear it. So everything's been one-sided on this entire thing. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to do one of the biggest drug busts there is, the drugs and everything are over there. They still do it. I mean, they still have money for you. I mean, she only works at Subway as just an employee. She's not a manager. She'll never take a manager job. And that's her only source of income other than me paying my child support. And it's funny because her sister Megan and her brother Matt, they all worked over there too. But that's all they do. Now Matt doesn't have a job. He's not hurting by any means. And Megan still works over at Subway. And they all have multiple kids. The thing about it is they won't let the fathers, or as in Matt's case, they won't let the mothers in this. They only keep people for so long because they're afraid that they're going to find out what I found out. They're actually terrified of what you guys are going to see on these videos. But those are not. Okay? The thing about it is, I've always let my daughter know. I was always aware that the stuff on these videos, my daughter could see and look at it any time. I usually keep them in a safety deposit box. The other videos, they are actually on rewritable DVDs, and they're on these little bitty micro SD cards. And I did that just in case I'd have to get it to a lawyer or I'd have to get it to the cops as fast as possible without somebody coming and erasing something. They've always been aware of my cameras. They've always been aware of me taking videos. I did it so often that they got used to it. So it was like a fly on the wall to them. They didn't care. What they didn't know is I was documenting everything. What they didn't know, I was documenting my daughter's life. I was basically showing, and eventually I was using some of the stuff to show people what they can do with their kids. But the whole purpose of it was to show that at no time has my daughter ever been in harm's way, any danger or anything else. But that family is dangerous. One of the dads, I think it's Matt's dad, he ended up dead. Okay? This goes all the way back to the grandma. When I've talked to other of Teresa, that's Gracie's grandmother's family members, they've all said it. There's a drug deal. They're drug dealers. They have problems. They've gotten in really good where they're at, and they're only a block and a half away from the police department. I don't know how to remedy the situation with my daughter, but she was not mad. They tried to get me in trouble, tried to say I was gay all this other time. They tried to falsely accuse me and another guy. I don't know. It was disgusting. And it came out of nowhere because it never happened. But they're always trying to put OPs against me. They're always trying to give me. They don't want me knowing who they're around because they know those people have records. Instead of not getting around those people, they'd rather take care of me and get rid of me. just like they got rid of everybody else the second that somebody becomes onto them, the second that somebody becomes wiser to them. And I do speak in circles. But to give you an idea, a lot of the times I was giving Gracie baths and her clothes smelled like pot, and it's not just that, it's meth also. Meth, you name it. Her brother Matt and Megan, they've been doing this for a long time. They kept it in the family, and the grandmother had complete control. Well, the grandmother died. She died, I think, January of 2019. Anyway, the second Benny ended up going back to jail. Benny Trevino, okay? He's a Latin king. Mike ended up marrying him. She tried to put a whole bunch of order protections against me and everything else so that she could create him as Gracie's dad. The problem is he never left the Latin Kings. In fact, he was trying to open up shop here. Now I know why he's trying to open up shop here. He was actually, there's a corridor. Okay, everybody wants to come into Quincy to sell their drugs. I don't know much other than that after I got out of the nightclub business and after people realized that I'll probably rat on it because I do not accept drugs. I do not tolerate drugs. I do not believe in, to me, I think they're very harmful to people. And that's when Mike and all of them started realizing that, yeah, they need to get rid of me fast. Problem is, I had to stay in that life somehow so I could protect my daughter. Otherwise, my daughter, till to this day, she's being physically, mentally, and psychologically abused. She's being abused by a family that's forcing her to not have friends, forcing her that they have to have complete control over. The only reason why my daughter's in any type of dance class or anything else is because I put her in those. I thought it was great to have extracurricular activities. Okay? I always believe that, kids, they can absorb a lot. They need to be doing a lot. And I do believe in doing a lot because as we get older, it's nice to have those memories. However, the reason why all this stuff started this year, if you go and look up Benny Trevino, okay, he went back to jail for selling cocaine. He's a drug dealer. He is a Latin king. Simple as that. His dad's a Latin king. His whole family's nothing but Latin kings from Chicago. They have no roots in Quincy at all. But all of a sudden, I get a thing. I got Department of Child Services called on me because of mental abuse because I took my daughter on a ride. That made no sense to me until they started with order protection. Well, then Gracie admitted that none of that stuff happened. You can go back and look at the video. Problem is, everybody keeps saying that Gracie's never coached. She's been coached for 13 years now. She's coached what to say all the time because her family, she doesn't know what to do. She cannot get away from them no matter what she does. But when you got a mom taking her, staying while she goes and talks to a doctor or a psychologist or whatever else, and you got the mom around the lobby, and then they tell her mom everything that she talked about, Gracie's not going to open up to anybody. She's not going to be honest or upfront with anybody. Why? Because everybody's telling Gracie secrets. Everybody's telling her, and she can't trust anybody. If I was a 13-year-old kid and I was going to get punished, and I knew that when they say that, oh, this isn't going to be told to anybody else, yet then all of a sudden your mom say, yeah, they said that, but guess what? I got to see it. I wouldn't trust anybody. And this whole thing needs to be looked at with common sense. I love my little girl. She means the world to me. Not in any kind of nasty, perverted way like the cops said. And cops are only looking at it through one direction. And believe it or not, I'm a very big supporter of the police. And, I would never doubt them. But they're also one-sided a lot of times. And they're one-sided because people put on these fake stories. Micah Stapp has learned to lie very well. But she's never been able to keep friends longer than 3 to 4 months because somebody's going to find out something they shouldn't. It still goes on to this day. The only difference is she's okay with Benny Trevino. She was okay with John Fedler. She's okay with Tim Pool. She's okay with all these different guys. And I kept files on them because they were all bad people. They were drug dealers. They were sex offenders. They were pedophiles. But she kept coming after me even though I didn't do anything. I had Gracie, I would take care of Gracie and Gabby and all the kids in that family because that family doesn't care. That family's worried about one thing, and that is when their next fix is going to be. They're only worried that they're going to be discovered. And now with the grandmother gone, it's probably the best time for everybody to find out. There's more videos and cameras in that house than what you'll ever get out of me. And all that proof is on their videos and cameras. I had to keep things running nonstop because they knew that they were safe anywhere they went because my word was theirs. They love to lie in court so they can come back and tell me, see, you can't mess with us. They used the court and the police as a weapon to be able to try to squash people like me. They're so worried, like with all the attention that goes on me, that they're going to be discovered. They never for a million, they thought after the nightclub I was done, over with. They didn't know that, no, I just moved on to the next thing. See, in their life, when somebody gets in trouble, they're done and they're over with. If you're watching this, I love my little girl. She means everything to me. I had to miss half of a year with her this year because Benny decided to come back to Quincy after he got out of jail or prison again and came and lived with her. Yes, Benny has another kid up in Chicago. And what scares me the most is this whole time, all this has been going on since April, just lie after lie after lie, and then all of a sudden they don't know anything, and now all of a sudden it's videos when this has been going on for a very long time, and they don't even know that I know that Benny's dead. He got killed November 10th. Look it up. He's not allowed to be around my daughter. They have kept my daughter away from him because if they say that he's around, if she says it, she will lose him. However, it doesn't matter what she says or does now because he's dead. So he's gone. He's out of the picture. But they need to keep my daughter away from me long enough so that my daughter doesn't get taken from her because she broke the law. She basically broke the rules and the violations we had into place. I'm a dad in Illinois that has been crying out for help to save my daughter for a very long time. And every time I get somewhere, I get railroaded or nothing can be done. As Child Services said, unless I'm in there with a video camera and I can videotape that these guys are alone with your daughter or that her mom is doing this stuff with their kids, there's nothing they can do about it. I know that all of them do bad things. And I know that there has to be evidence. But I did everything in my power to stick around. But the second Benny got back out of jail, he came back to Quincy. And I know they're probably going to say, oh, he has another kid with me. Yeah, it's fine. He slept with lots of women. He's got probably other kids. I'm just asking you if there's anything that family needs to be investigated. I'm telling you right now, they've been getting away with it for a very long time. And unless somebody sits there and looks at, it's Micah Stapp. The grandmother had a boyfriend by the name of Kevin Root. Kevin's actually a really nice guy, but guess what? He knows everything going on. Micah now runs everything. Micah's in charge of running everything. She's actually pretty good with numbers. But she works at Subway. But they got money for everything. And they're able to keep fighting me in court on stuff. I went for full custody of my daughter. What they do now, they use the videos to say, oh, look at all these videos. But then they turn around and say, I don't do anything with my daughter. It's a double negative. They're sitting there saying one thing. Each time that somebody changes it, they change it back. If you're watching this, please investigate them. Micah, Kristen, Stapp. You would probably end up taking down probably one of the biggest drug in a long time. And right now, with the grandmother dead, they're more vulnerable than ever of getting caught and found out about. And Micah is terrified of that. They know that if all I need is just one set of proof. Benny was my proof. He's dead now. He was killed on November 10th because he is a Latin king. He deals in drugs. He deals in violence. He's part of the Latin Kings. His family up in Chicago are lieutenants within the Latin Kings. I don't know how much more my daughter can take. They're in a half bath, one bedroom, half bath, and she's controlled nonstop by her mom. She's not allowed. My daughter went from being hyper energetic, all the fun in the world, to all of a sudden after April, actually after May, everybody sees her, oh my God, she's not herself, Jeff. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Now all of a sudden she's suicidal, but she hasn't been with me at all. It's funny, up until now, when she was with me, she was happy. And now people see her and she hangs her head and she doesn't know what to say or do. Her mother has broken her. They've broken her spirit. They've told her what she has to say. She just goes along with it because nobody can keep their word. She can't talk to anybody without it getting back to her mom. She can't tell anybody anything without her mom finding out what she said, and her mom tells her what to say. I know this because if you watch all the videos, she calls grandpa, grandpa. She calls people by their names. She's excited about things with people. You know, they're worried about me coaching her on what to say, but now all of a sudden they're like, oh, you're videotaping her with, how can I be coaching her if you know what I'm saying? Basically, they say, oh, he's telling her what to say on the video. No, I'm not. That's why I make the videos. So she can just be free herself. But my little girl's hurting right now. My little girl, you know, you cannot convince me for a minute that they're not coaching her. I go to these counselors. I take all these, you know, and I pass with flying colors because I didn't do anything wrong. Just to be told because of this coronavirus crap that all of a sudden, oh, court's extended out. I have to go through the rest of the year without seeing my daughter. She's just turned 13. I missed her birthday. I haven't seen her since May. Haven't seen her since Benny Trevino got out of jail. Does that not ring a bell with anybody? They came into my house. They knocked down my doors. Oh my God, because somebody told them I'd had all kinds of... It turns out I don't do any of that stuff. I've never sent videos to anybody of my daughter. I've never, you know, showed my daughter naked or anything like that. You know, I kept them on a hard drive. And I do have backups. And I have the backups for the cops, for the police, once I know I can trust people, once I know that something can get done. But I also have them so one day later on in life, when Gracie's told every single day that I don't love her, I don't want to be with her, that she can see that I spent every waking minute I could for her. I did everything I could to make sure she was safe. If you're watching this, you got this far, please do something about it. I love my little girl. She's never seen me naked, any of that kind of crap like they put in there. I know what the cops are saying, but you want to know something? I also know that they didn't put their entire story, what they told me when I was being interrogated. Why? Because why would you put some of the mean stuff or nasty stuff you'd say to me down? That would make you guys look bad. But the fact is, I've never done anything wrong. I've never broken a law. I have not done anything against when my daughter was small. And it all actually stopped as she got older, because now she could tell me what she wanted to tell me instead of just me, listening to her to get it out of her. Please help my daughter, because I don't know what else to do. I love my little girl. This family has beaten her, abused her mentally, physically, psychologically, you name it. She's terrified. I don't even know if she's scared anymore, if she's just given up and being like, there's nothing. She doesn't feel like she can do anything about it. She doesn't feel like she has a voice. She doesn't feel like she can say anything. And I know they're talking about the videos stuff. My daughter's never said anything to me about videos before until just now, until her mom all of a sudden started using that, until the lawyers got into her mom's head and said, well, if you say this, this, and this. The thing about it is, all that is their right hand. They want you to watch their right hand while they're doing all their drugs, while they're freaking screwing over the system with their left. And I'm afraid that my daughter's going to grow up and be part of that world. And I don't know what to do. Please, I know you guys are watching my private videos. I know that you got a warrant so that you can look at all my private videos and videos on there. That's fine. I don't have anything in there that's illegal, or there's a lot, but that's not illegal. It was something that was projects and different things we did. But if you're watching this, I don't know who you are. I'm just hoping that you're a good person. You can actually see that and listen to this stuff to where you can see that my daughter is in danger right now from her mother. And nobody will do anything about it, because I live in a state to where the father has no rights. I live somewhere where, oh my God, if they cry wolf so many times, people keep running to their aid. I did what I could to be around my daughter to make sure she was safe. Please help me.